Hi guys, I'm joining you very, very fresh-faced and just bright and early in the morning. I did some writing and things yesterday and I filmed that as part of my work routine. However, I didn't do the talking part of the video at that point because there was drilling going on next door. The plan was to do it in one day, but the drilling took place and I couldn't really cope, and then I had to go out to write and, you know, sensory things. But I join you today and I'm about to do my makeup, and I had my hair in heatless curls overnight. I feel a bit like Shirley Temple, but whatever. I'm learning how to do it. It's all very new. But I'm doing my makeup because I have to film a video for a publisher, which is wild and cool. Or I'm trying to make myself believe that it's cool because anyway, basically this week, on the 27th, there's an anthology of autistic Irish writers coming out, and it is published by New Island Books, and it's called Wired Our Own Way, and I was selected for it, and I've been published, which is really odd. I feel like I submitted for it so long ago that I kind of forgot it was happening. I tend to do that when I tend to submit to something. I just kind of dip, and then just, if I don't hear back, I don't hear back. Like, it's kind of no skin off my nose. I'll just keep writing in a corner. But it is launching, and on Thursday's the launch in Dublin in the bookshop that I always say is Hodges and Figgis. I sound so from Kerry, like I sound so outside Dublin, but I never know how to say it properly. But it is beautiful. So that's in the evening on Thursday, I think around 6, and there's going to be a lot of different writers there and people to meet. But in the run up to that, the publisher wants to put out some videos on social media introducing the different writers, and we got a full brief on what to do and the lighting to use and all of that, which is really intense, and I haven't even looked at that stuff, to be honest. But I need to record it today and film it and edit it and send it over to them. So I am going to try and make myself look alive. But otherwise I do also need to prepare for the launch in other ways. I need to do my nails, and I need to pick an outfit and talk about it a bit more. So I will be back, I will chat about it a bit more. This will probably be fairly messy video, but I think it might be nice in the future, you know, if I was ever published again, to look back at like this first kind of step or something that felt official. I think it might be nice. So yeah, that's what we're doing. But I need to make myself look alive and record the video, and they also said only 10 seconds per answer, and I'm already in my head thinking I talk so much. So we'll figure it out. Yeah. But, you know, good to be back talking to you guys. Okay, I filmed the video for the publishers, and I'm now filming this while standing up, because I filmed that previous video sitting down and my legs are really, really numb. And my ankle that I had operated on, I had it bent at such an awkward angle. So basically I'm standing, not important. I think the video went well. I have to edit it and kind of cut out my many pauses and things, you know, things I don't do for these videos, to make it smaller, because I think they want to splice a good few contributors together. But I wanted to talk for a little bit about the anthology. The anthology is called Wired Our Own Way, and it is, I think, phenomenal really, in that it's a collection of autistic Irish voices. There's personal essays, there's mine, I suppose, was a little bit of a speculative non-fiction piece. It didn't occur to me to write something that was very, I suppose, a really non-fiction personal essay. I immediately went down the literary road. So I have read, I got a contributor copy of it, and I've read a few others, and some people are really, really talking about something specific, like growing up autistic, or the workplace and things like that, and then others are talking about like their wider experiences of realizing they were autistic when they're 70 or things like that, and it's phenomenal. So I think it'll be really, really cool. It's also cool in Ireland that it's getting kind of mainstream media attention in publishing. This is the aim of the wonderful editor Niamh Garvey. Niamh Garvey's an existing author already in the kind of autism space, but this was the first time in which we're trying to bring together a lot of autistic voices and then trying to make that voice mainstream. And I think there's been a lot of like newspaper and radio and things like that interest, which I think would be really cool. I have been asked to do a literature festival in the autumn as well, which I think would be really, really cool. I think it's really nice that someone read my essay and wanted me specifically for this panel discussion, which is really nice. It's all a bit surreal and it feels a bit strange, I think, to be preparing for the launch, even mentally in my, you know, in my being, to be preparing for the launch, because I feel like it's not, I don't know how to say it, it's not necessarily something worth celebrating just for me, because I'm such a small part of this. I'm one of, you know, I can't remember how many contributors, and I write so much, you know, I write so much books and things like that that I haven't done anything with. That one essay that I actually personally don't think is my strongest essay doesn't feel like celebrating, but then to see your name on the back of a traditionally published book and to be invited to speak with the publishers and meet with them and all of those kind of things, that feels exciting. It's a little bit strange though, because I think I have consistently with my health used writing as a way of coping, that I've associated my writing a lot with writing alone, and you know, a lot of the time like in a hoodie with my hood up and being like, not being my worst self, but being my most me self, I guess. That this feels strange, but also because it's to do with autism, it feels completely right, I think. My essay focuses on my experience of being autistic and chronically ill. It takes the experience of when I was 18 and first trying to figure out what's going on, and being then 28, which is when I wrote this piece, and going to that same GP with the same symptoms, but one time knowing you're autistic and one time not. In my head, it's very simple. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't, it's not a revolutionary piece, I guess, but maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is that everyone's voices together, being in this mainstream space and taking up space as autistic adults as well, considering autism is always talked about, or predominantly talked about in terms of childhood and things. That's the revolutionary piece, is that we exist and we're there. So yeah, I think that's really nice. I need to try and find something to wear, because there's actually 2 launches. There's one in Dublin and one in Cork. Cork is next week, so I need 2 outfits. I have lots of nice clothes, but I'm trying to like wear something where I'll feel confident, because this is my first time where I'm going to be going to something purely from my writing, I suppose. Whereas like I've done conferences and things for academics, that's different. I feel like I know that mode of being. I know my mode being when I'm in work as well and all of that. But whereas this feels tangibly a little bit different. Yeah, but I think it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm just trying to make myself feel confident and excited for it. So hopefully I'll film some clips at the launch and kind of document it at least in some way, you know, or at least show you the book. Would be nice to do that at a minimum.
What I was wondering when I watched those things.
Hi guys, it's been a while being about 2 weeks, and I just want to film a last clip for this video talking about the book launch, what that was like. I will have put in a few clips, but it was honestly really overwhelming what it's like having the book here. I am sick at the moment, which I think you can tell. I think I look really tired, but I am not doing too badly. I'm okay. It's not like previous years pre-Addison's and like early Addison's diagnosis where getting sick was like world-ending event, whereas now it's like normal level annoying, I think. So I think that's good, but it's been a while. So with the book, Wired Our Own Way, an anthology of Irish autistic voices, we did 2 launches. We did a launch in Cork, which was second, and the bigger kind of launch was in Dublin, in Hodges Figus, at the end of March. I have never been to a book launch. I've gone to a book signing, I think, for an old mentor of mine, but I've never been to a launch, so I didn't really know what to expect. Thankfully, they did send out that document saying, here's what to expect. So they included like pictures, and there'd be water and there'd be wine and kind of where to go and all those things. My parents and my sister came, and we went in kind of early because we wanted to get seats, and they had seats out, and they had quite a few seats out, but you can tell they were kind of expecting it to be a bit quiet, which is fine. I suppose technically, like, a lot of people have said this is niche, you know, talking about autistic adults. I'm not super sure it's that niche anymore, but I can see the impulse. But it was packed. It was horrendously packed, which was really, really nice, but it was a lot also. It was kind of a little bit alarming. It was roasting. Everyone was really warm. I think also everyone who's autistic was kind of overwhelmed by the fact that all of these people were genuinely there to listen. And then the following week there was a launch in Cork. I, for some reason, that doesn't make sense, believed this meant it would be smaller, and it absolutely wasn't. I think because it would be in Dewberry Books as opposed to like Hodges Figus, which is really popular, Dublin, I suppose, a lot of tourists, things like that. But it was actually just as busy, but it was more aerated, so it wasn't too bad. So I met a good few of the contributing authors. A big problem, I suppose, was that I couldn't like, I couldn't necessarily like tell who was who, because I suppose we've only been communicated to by Niamh, who's the editor of the book, via email. So there's some people's faces I knew, but I didn't know actually very many at all. Weeks since the launch have been kind of wild in the sense that they have been so strange, because the book went on the bestseller list, the Irish Times non-fiction bestseller list. It was number 9 the first week, and then number 4, and now it's back down to number 10, I think. But the fact that it even kind of graced those and sold out, it's on its second reprint. It had to go into a second reprint after 5 days, I think, or something. Felt really hard to conceptualize, to be honest. Not in the sense that it's not positive, it's acutely positive, and everyone was saying like, oh, congrats being part of something like that, and that was really, like, genuinely really cool. But also because I think being autistic, and I don't know, something about it will always feel like you're trying to make the internal external when you are almost pleading with people to understand you. And through my writing, that's what I do. But it still feels like you're trying to bring something like a form of abstract art out into the world in a way that is suitable for mass consumption, where everyone digests it and thinks, oh, that was cool, and in no way strange. That's certainly how it is for me anyway, in the sense that I have the need to be understood. I'm hoping this gets less so over the years, but still I do feel like I have that need. But I think that doesn't necessarily come from being autistic so much as being someone who seeks validation at times from the world. But it's strange to see on paper the book doing well, and then to read the reviews, which are really, really positive. The reviews are so positive. And also to be able to kind of read everyone else's stories as well is kind of strange. But it was, so it's been surreal. It was really nice as well, because I think it felt like, for me, the coming together of a lot of worlds. So like for me, my health is a big theme in my life. Being autistic is. I mean, I have ADHD too, but I suppose in this context we're talking about autism. Also, I suppose as well, my work, which is working with disabled people. All of those worlds, including, and then the overarching one being writing, feel strange, because they always feel like they're separate threads. Like, I have people I talk to who are autistic, I have people I talk to about my health, then I have my work friends, and then I was going to say my writing friends. I have a few writing friends, but mostly I do that by myself, but they feel very segregated. This was a real culmination of all of it, because my story in this, which is called The Tin Man's Heart, this is me reading it just to make sure that's actually what it was called, I can't remember. The Tin Man's Heart. That story is about being autistic and having a chronic illness. And then at the launch, my work colleagues came, so it was kind of like autism, health, my work, and writing intersected for the first time in a really meaningful way that was only positive. So actually it was quite overwhelming. And it's still overwhelming because I feel like it feels like sand in water. It just needs to like settle a bit, that actually this thing was absorbed by the public and felt in a way that was positive, especially in a time, particularly in Ireland at the moment, where there's a lot of talk about overdiagnosis, which I have thoughts on, but I'm too sick to communicate those in a way that is polite. I suppose it feels really strange, but it was really, really cool. I'm glad my first writing thing being published, potentially my only, who knows, was actually with other people, because it felt nice because we could kind of lean on each other, especially at the Cork launch when we knew each other at that stage a little bit more. I knew some of these people beforehand because I used to work in an autism charity in Ireland, and I knew a good few of these people as just kind of, you know, members who kind of took part in different groups, things like that. So that was really nice. But yeah, it's really strange. It's really, really strange. And then I think after the launches, I was just I was really done, to be honest. I really just wanted to get back to writing, and I just wanted to be alone again. But it felt like these mini moments kept bursting in. Like my friends in work all bought the book and then asking me to sign it. I realised I didn't have a signature that I use, like an autograph. That cringe, that word just makes me want to cringe. Because I don't, like, Points isn't my birth name. It's because my biological name. It's a pen name. So I didn't know how to write it. And then all I could think about was, I think, watching an interview with Daniel Radcliffe when he was like 16, talking about what he would change about his journey with Harry Potter, and the only thing he wanted to change or something was having a shorter signature, because he started off when he was, what, like 10, signing things as Daniel Radcliffe, and then he felt like he had to continue that. So the only thing I knew is, I was like, make it short, because also I can't trust my hands to like hold pens consistently every day. Which even in itself feels weird to say out loud, because I'm like, how do I even know this would be an everyday experience? How do I know I'll ever be asked to sign anything again? Or, I don't know. Just very, very strange. And then when things went back to semi-normal, I got an email with a link to listen to our Audible version of the book. The book is called Wired Our Own Way, and it's available in audiobook off Audible, and it is so strange to hear my story like read and be available on such a big site. I was half nervous that I wouldn't like the reader, even though I remember having to send in a voice note to the publishers of how to say Points, like Jennifer Points, because they were really scared they'd say it wrong. But obviously they didn't, they got it perfectly. So I just really wanted to listen to it, and I listened to it on the dart into work, where I was about to run my ADHD, autism and ADHD support group, and I just felt really, everything felt like it was right. Like I just felt very at the center point of a lot of roads coming together, but they're roads that I have paved quite diligently. Like I've put the effort into my work, I've put the effort into my writing, I work tirelessly on my health, all of these kind of things that take such discipline. I've built the kind of pavings for all of those roads, and then suddenly they're starting to intersect, and it felt really right. It really, really did, which is really strange and lovely. But very, very weird. Very, very weird, but overall a fantastic experience. I know from all of us though, we're all really tired after like the socializing and things. I'm lucky, some people like to do interviews and things. I'm lucky because I got asked to do literary festivals based on my story, which was nice, but they're not until October, November, I think. So I have time. I'm gonna have to reread my own story by then to remember what I was on about. But it's really strange, but really positive. It's hard though to learn how to bring all of these parts of myself together when I'm very, very used to the neatness of keeping threads apart. It was really, really cool. I'm going to try and play the first 2 seconds of the audiobook when my name is being introduced on here. I'm obviously not going to play the whole thing or anything, but it's just really surreal. I don't know if it'll work.
Jennifer Points is an Irish writer and PhD researcher. Through her work at Trinity College Dublin, Jennifer strives to help disabled students feel empowered in their education. Jennifer writes and speaks about her experiences of being autistic and living with 2 chronic illnesses, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility subtype, and secondary Addison's disease.
I actually have to stop there because I think she's going to start reading and I actually can't listen to it again. I told myself I would listen to it once and that was that was it. Done, dusted. It's really nice though because before every section, so before my essay, everyone has a little blurb to tell you about them, and some people wrote it really funny, some people wrote them really professionally, some people wrote anonymously. It was really, really cool. So overall, a positive, crazy thing, and I think maybe it's a good sign that in the middle of it all, I really loved meeting everyone, and kind of like it was so nice to have people acknowledge your writing and things like that, and meet other writers and say why to them that they're incredible. But in the middle of it, I just wanted to be here at my desk writing by myself again, more than anything. And I realized, like, as much as the social stuff is nice and the recognition is nice, and I've always said, even when I was little, I was like, I'd love to be widely read, but it wouldn't be a prerequisite to like wanting to write. It wouldn't be a part of the motivation, because it's always been something that's very just for me, like regulating for myself. And I'm glad that that feels the same now. Like, it's really nice to have recognition, but it is very secondary to the internal process that happens within me when I write. I'm not sure if the last couple of minutes rambling made any sense, but I did just want to wrap up this video chatting about it, because I think I want to remember this time and this weird period of life where I feel like I'm neither here nor there. I'm 30 years old and I feel like I have nothing together, and then I somehow also feel like I've never been more in the right spot in terms of my interests and my professional, social and creative lives aligning with who I am. So yeah, really, really cool. Thank you guys for watching or listening or putting up with whatever randomness this video came out with, and I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon.